Now, I didn't want to scare anyone by saying that Hungary is a terrible place to live. That's simply not true, because there is very little danger in the country. It's not a dictatorship. There are no dangerous insects. Bigger animals, such as tiny bears or tiny wolves, they were hunted down during the communist era for sports, and basically that makes the country incredibly safe and relatively dull, other than a couple of gypsies may be stealing your apples or oranges or whatever you grow. And the truth is that what annoys a lot of people is not that the country is really poor, but this incredible mediocrity that the government manages the country with. It's simply dreadful to see that the country is not advancing at all. We are behind with education, we are behind with economic power and everything else. We offer very little to the West other than a couple of IT professionals, doctors, and the like, because people tend to leave the country as it is the best option to up your salary. There is a cap that you reach in Hungary. Even if you are a director of a bigger corporation, chances are that you earn much less than your peers in Germany or Austria or the UK, for instance, or even France. And there is a limited amount of positions available for these people for this money. And if people want to get more money, they simply go away. That's the best option. Because Hungary tends to be the kind of country where, especially in high-end positions, people tend to favor friends and family over whoever would be the best fit for the position. Things like I go to Hungary and find a job are not that easy to manage. It would be a lot easier in the UK or in the US because there are lots of open positions. Salaries in Hungary are usually paid in cash, which is not very good for your retirement plan, but very good for avoiding taxes. And this behavior is tolerated. It's kind of cheating, kind of corruption, kind of like, lots of these sort of things are sort of tolerated. There is no huge corruption issue other than who gets more land and who gets less land. There are obviously bad things going around, but it's mostly about the general behavior of Hungary as a country. Because it's not acceptable behavior to refuse to receive refugees, although kind of secretly kind of accepting refugees. It's not acceptable behavior to refuse cooperation with the IMF, the EU, and other kinds of organizations, because instead of trying to figure out a devious and clever plan to how to cheat these, we just either do some dumb stuff like, give me money and we'll not give it back to you, or if the dumb thing doesn't work, then we just outright refuse cooperation. And it's not a danger to whoever lives there. You can live a fine life. It's okay. If you are on the low end of the scale of salaries or whatever it's called, the low end of the scale, then chances are you can be quite poor. But that's true to Russia, that's true to the UK, that's true to any country. You can't just expect to leave the country with no skills, arrive to another country, and, expect the high salaries. That's not how it works. It's just there are more opportunities in other countries than in Hungary. So that's my more detailed explanation regarding the question of what's going on in Hungary, and a reflection of the comment that, hang on, whoever left. So that hopefully answers the question of Heedroy, or the name with proper pronunciation, and it's more or less satisfied. It's very dangerous, I guess I could use that word, and also kind of hard to discuss these kind of political and economical things, because you can only hear my perspective rather than something that is based on cold, hard facts. But of course, you all know that this is all about just my perspective of the topics that I want to talk about, or we agree that I should talk about. In other news, did you know that in Hungary we have name days? So you have one's birthday and one's name day, because every single given name, or first name, which is really the second part of your name in Hungary, they issued a book for each, and the book contains each given name that can be given to people. It is possible to request a new name added to the book, but then of course it has to be issued a name day, a date actually for the name day, and all sorts of legal and whatever things. So you can't really call your offspring a chair or Toyota Prius if you wanted to. But you can get the book and choose a name, or go online and choose a name. It doesn't really matter. So yes, name days are a thing. There is no cake, but you do receive presents. So it's kind of like this half good, half bad situation, which is great. And if you look up my name on a Hungarian website, I guess it's no longer a secret that today is my name day. And the reason I'm telling you this, not because I expect billions of dollars as presents, but because you can look it up, it's public information, because everyone that shares my name has their name day today, and I always forget, even though that in most calendars and diaries, they list the names that for that day, but I keep forgetting things anyway. So there you go, that's today's news. It's fantastic, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching.